So hey guys, are you ready? Let's do this. Hygiene first. Okay? Okay guys, yeah, so good morning or good afternoon. So welcome back to my channel. You all know I'm Salvidi, and today I'll be talking about hairstylist and hydrogen peroxide, also known as the developer for our colors and also known as the developer for our colors. So its chemical properties contains hydrogen and oxygen. That's why we have hydrogen peroxide, which is also known as H2O. Today, before going into details, I just want you guys to know that I'm currently certified in about 7 to 8 different color lines. Let me see if I can name some of them offhand. Pravana, L'Oreal, Goldwell, Fusion, Paul Michel, Joico, My Identity, Wella. So when I'm talking about color, I do know what I'm talking about as a hairstylist that is licensed. I went to school full-time, and along the way I've had my mishaps, I've had my learning experiences, I've had my successes, you know, and sometimes even up till now, when I tell people like do it this way, and whenever they enforce their own ideas into the process, I always notice that something goes wrong. So I'm just telling you guys that because hairstylist, you guys have to follow your gut. When your guest is like, oh my god, do it the way I want, sometimes it may go bad, and then you feel depressed, and you all know that our career and our craft is an unforgiving career, where if you make even one mishap, they can use that to judge your entire lifetime, you know. So I still, even up to this day, sometimes if I have a day that did not go right, I still take it to heart because I'm a very passionate person, and I always want them to give me the opportunity to get it done. So we'll be talking about peroxides, like I said earlier, and I hope you guys will learn a little bit from this video. First, you saw me do the hygiene, so now let's get into it. So I'll be using Paul Michel line for this video. I'm currently carrying 3 lines in my studio, which is the Wella, Paul Michel, and My Identity. So today the developers I'll be talking about will be from the permanent, the semi-permanent, and the demi-permanents. So the developers we have in Paul Michel line is from 5 to 40, and I will tell you what each of these developers do. So when you have, let's say for a 40 volume developer, that can be, tells you that it has about 12. I'm going from the high to the low. So this, when it says this is a Paul Michel developer, it's a cream developer, it comes in cream and clear. So when it says 40 volume, that means it has 12% of hydrogen peroxide in it. It tells me that the power of this is very high, and it can lift someone's hair to 4 levels higher than the natural level they already had. So if someone is a natural level 2 or a black hair, this can lift them up to 4 levels, and you have to know what you're doing and what the ratios you should be using. If you want a very high lift, you have to use 20% of this to 10% of your color. If you want a tone on tone, like a regular beautiful just nice tone, just get to the tone and stop there, then you have to use 10% of these to 10% of the color, or will I say ounces. So if I'm using 1 ounce of the color, I will use 1 ounce of this. So a 30 volume would lift, clear will lift about 2 to 3 levels, at most 3 levels with the clear, or the 30 volume, or cream, because it comes in both ways. The cream is more consistent, but the clear is very strong compared to the cream. But what I like about the cream is that the cream is used for mostly people with fine hair, people with short hair, you know, people with curly hair. But the clear is used for people with very long hair because it has more penetration and it has more resistance, and can penetrate deeply for your guests. Okay, so the 30 volume has 9% of hydrogen peroxide in it. So the peroxide is what we use as hairstylists to mix with our color to form what we call oxidation process. So when you put in your color, it's not like a direct dye. You cannot just slap it on. A direct dye is when you just put just the dye itself on the person's hair. But when you're doing a permanent color, you have to use your developers with it. This is when you need this hydrogen peroxide, which acts as a developing agent. That's why it's called the developer. Okay, so the 30 volume leaves 2 to 3 levels in my experience. Next will be one of my favorite is the 20 volume. So the 20 volume, what I like about the 20 volume is that it leaves about 1 to 2 levels higher than the natural level. If you have color in your hair already, please don't put 20 volume on that with a color of, let me say, 2 levels higher and expect that hair to lift. I repeat, color does not lift color. People always tell me, oh my god, I had black on this side and I did 20 volume here, and this side is lighter, the scalp is lighter, but the ends are darker. And I tell them, color does not lift color. It's a tint. It's like having a cement upon a cement, or having a painting upon a painting. You don't expect that painting to get brighter when you keep painting the same color on it. It will only get darker. So I think that is self-explanatory. So in the 20 volume, it has 6% of hydrogen peroxide or developer. And what this does is that it is best for people with gray hair. So if someone has gray hair and we have 25%, we have 50% of gray hair, we have 75%, and we have 100%. So for 25%, I'll have to do more of the color and less of the, it's called the gray blending series. This is where you have to add something that will cover up the gray. So if someone has 25%, for example, we have these 2 colors. These 2 colors, for example, this is the gray coverage series, and this is just a regular color. So if someone has 25%, I'll have to use 1 of this and 2 of this ounces. So 1 ounce to 2 ounces of this. Then my developer, which is 20 volume, will be 3 ounces. Okay, it always has to be even. Then if someone has 50% of grays, I'll have to use 1 ounce of this to 1 ounce of this, and then I'll use 2 ounces of the developer, which is 20, which is intended for every gray coverage, 20 volume. Until you get advanced like me, then you can do other stuff. Maybe that will be for a different video. But if you guys want me to talk about other techniques to use for gray coverage when you don't have a 20 volume, I'll be happy to do that, because I did a color correction certification course where I learned about other tricks, and it's called Color Geek. So yeah, you have to know the ins and outs of those. Then if someone has 75%, I have to use 1 of these and 1 of these. So 1 ounce of this and 1 ounce of this, then I'll use 2 ounces of this. But if someone has 100%, honey, at that point you should use 2 of these, the gray coverage, 1 of these, and then 3 of these. Okay, so I think that will help. That helped somehow when it comes to the 20%. So the 20 volume is what you use for all gray coverages, okay? Or if you're going 1 or 2 levels lighter. The 10 volume, it has only 3% of hydrogen peroxide. It doesn't do any lifting. What it does what we call color shaking. So it shakes the hair strand color like an adjustment in a way, or it shifts it. Color shifting would be the best term to use. So what I like about the 10 volume is that I can use this. The 10 volume is used for toning, it's used for glazing, it's used for glossing. So if I've done like highlights on someone, full foils or partial foils, you have to use the 10 volume with the color that they wanted and put it on the person's hair for 5 to 20 minutes depending on what you're looking for. You have to watch them when it comes to this, because it can go bad real fast. So between 5 to 20 minutes is fine. The 20 for the 20 volume, I would say 30 to 35 minutes depending on what you're looking for. Especially for great coverage, if the person is resistant, 45 minutes, honey. Just do 45 minutes and you should be fine. So the 10 volume is good for toning. I decided to do this video because for a while I've not been toning or glossing with my developer. I've been using what we call shades EQ kind of Redken situation, Redken shades EQ. So I had really just tossed the 10 volume and color toning system out of my style of toning that I forgot. So when I needed it, I even forgot that, oh my god, 10 volume, what happened, why did I forget about it? So that's why education is very important. You always have to remind yourself, you always have to stay, you know, up to par with your knowledge of what you know, because sometimes if you don't use those techniques and skill sets and ideas, it becomes redundant, guys. And last but not the least should be the 5 volume when it comes to the developers. So the 5 volume has 1.5 strength wise of the hydrogen peroxide. And what I'll say about the 5 volume is that you can use this for an ultra tone system. This is when you maybe, for example, lighten someone's hair. I hate the word bleach. So when you've lightened someone's hair to pale wise, for example, let's use this. So if someone's hair is this color black, right, and then you lightened the hair or bleached it out to this color, and then someone decides I want yellow, for example, or gold, now I'll have to use what we call an ultra toner natural blonde and 5 volume for 5 to 10 minutes or so to get the desired look. So at the end they will now be looking like this. They will be looking, if they wanted this color, this is what they will now look like, because that's what I can do with this 5 volume. Then 5 volume can also be used to take someone darker. So if someone is, for example, this color and they decide they're trying to go darker, I'll have to use a 5 volume. But that's for another kind of video where we call it color correction and filling and all that. So I won't go into details with that, but I'm just letting you know that this is the developer. When you're trying to go darker, you have to use a developer that is lower in strength, okay? Because you don't want any kind of lift. Now there is another kind of developer we call demi-permanent developer or processing liquid. I do have one here. Oh, I do. So a Paul Michel processing liquid. This is what you use with the shines in the line, or if you have Redken shades EQ, you have to use something like this, which is a processing liquid. So this is what you use. You use this on the shines and it will give you your desired outcome. I can go into details with that if you guys want to know more about toning with your shades and EQs and PM shines and demi shines. I'm always open to such videos, but today I'm talking about developers. And for the My Identity line, this is the stipulated, it's written there, demi-permanent developer. You cannot use this developer for, let me say, someone going blonde, for example. This will not lift their hair at all. This will only create a demi or semi, something more temporary look, and it doesn't lift the hair. So people who don't like coloring their hair, they just want something different that will fade away easily. This is what they will use. This will be the developers they use, okay? So I hope you guys learned something from this video. I love you guys, it's been a pleasure, and I hope you learned something about developers today. Will I say hydrogen peroxides? And talk to you guys soon, okay? Love you.